So Apple just dropped Logic Pro 11 with some new updates to the DAW. I'm super excited to see what's new and get cooking up in the DAW. I feel like this update has been long overdue. Let's get into it. I'm going to go through the list of new features that's in Logic Pro X, and it seems like the focus is definitely towards AI, which seems to be the trend in music production today. But one of my favorite changes is actually something really small, but it enhances the workflow by a million, and I'll talk about that later on in the video. So I've got Logic Pro 11 pulled up right here, and as you can see, the interface is quite different. They've got a lot more options in the create new track, and something that's really exciting is the session player, which is all based upon AI generated players, essentially to kind of replicate having a session player in the room with you playing out new ideas. So let's test that out. I'm going to open up the keyboard player, and then let's just go for like a 130 BPM. Between 130 and 140 is where I usually make beats. And then what we've got here is some chords. And this is all AI generated, so I guess we could go in and just mess around and play around with the parameters. So let's try maybe like some block chords. We could even try, I don't know, I'm just completely randomizing and seeing what happens. Let's see what they got here in the details. We can even mess around with the grace notes, see how that sounds. Okay. That's a cool little idea that they got going there. Let's switch it up again. I want to try maybe like some freely playing and hear what they come up with. Nice. So I think that's really cool just for like a quick idea that's generated. I can't see yet where you can potentially change the key or even maybe change the mood that it generates. To be honest, a lot of the presets, they kind of got like a similar vibe, but not necessarily the same. We could even go into the manual section and change up the pattern. But I think where this is really cool is just quickly coming up with an idea, and then what we can do to make it unique is convert this into a MIDI region. So now we've got the MIDI notes here, and here we can mess around with it. So let's just maybe put it up by 2 semitones. So this is like a good idea to play from. We could even maybe just bounce it in place to turn it into an audio file and maybe manipulate it even more. Let's try just reverse it and see what happens. What I like about this as well, even though we have the session player basically playing us a melody, we can still go ahead and use our third-party plugins. So like, I'm gonna pull up Analog Labs, which is great for synths. Let's go for like random key. Oh, that is really nice. I like here as well where you can actually change the hand position to move it further up an octave. So we got the left one playing the bass notes really low down, but then we got this right one a bit further up. Let's just mess around with the voicings. I'm really just randomizing just to see like what's possible. So as you can see, this is like a really cool way to just quickly get an idea down and just build from there. I don't think it's going to create you like a banging melody just right off the bat, but we can use this and work with it to come up with something really cool. As well as the keyboard player, I did see that they've got the drummer version as well, the bass player one. To be honest, in my productions making trap or drill beats or even like electronic music, I probably wouldn't use the bass player too much. The drummer one could be cool. Let's check that out. So I got the drums pulled up here. Let's mess around and see what we can find. So I'm gonna try maybe like a garage rock preset. Let's put the complexity up, make it swing so it sounds a bit more natural. So it's using the stock drum kits, which just by itself do kind of sound quite stock, but with some plugins and stuff like that, which we'll throw on a bit later, we can make this sound really cool. Will it replace session musicians? I really don't think so just yet, but I think this is only going to get more and more powerful. If I have, let's say, a bit of creative block, this is a good place to go. I can see you can save the preset based on what you've chosen, but what I would like to see is maybe being able to import other people's presets and maybe even other people's patterns and seeing what happens there. So you have like a huge library, different MIDIs, different drum tracks, different bass lines to choose from. Another new feature in Logic Pro 11 is the Chroma Glow plugin. I'm not gonna lie, when you pull it up, it looks nice. It looks quite modern. As I was saying before, the drums do sound a bit stock. They don't sound realistic enough. So what this plugin does is adds a bit more character to your sound and just enhances the sound overall. You can think of this as like a RC20 or even Reels, something like that. So as usual with all of them, they've got different presets. Let's just try one. So let's just turn down the drive a bit and see what happens. Oh, so already now, this is sounding nice. Drums are sounding thick with this preset. Oh, I like this. So you can hear with this plugin that it's definitely adding a lot to the sound that you're getting out of it. You could put it on anything really. For the stock drums, it sounds sick. It kind of reminds me of if you was to add some sound toys and put the decapitator plugin on top. There's a lot to customize. You can choose the model, choose the style, and then kind of just mess around with the drive until you get what you want. So I think it's going to be a very, very useful plugin. One of the new features that I'm super duper excited about in Logic Pro 11 is the stem splitter feature. So what it does is, let's say you throw a song into your DAW, but you want to just have the vocals, or you just want to have the drums or the melody. It just essentially separates out all the stems and you can just take from it. Here's a track that I was trying to sample before. I tried to separate out the stems, but it just wasn't sounding the best quality possible just because there's a lot of clashing frequencies. Such a classic. So I want to separate out all the stems in this. So what we can do, you can either just double click and choose processing stem splitter, or you can just do it in functions and go to stem splitter. If you see this is gray, then that means you need to change your Logic Pro X settings from Rosetta to just the normal standard. So let's click that stem splitter. Now we got the options of what we want. I'm just going to leave them all ticked and split and let it do its magic. Now that was super quick. That was what, like a second? That was mad. Okay, let's listen to what we got now. So just the vocals. So you can hear the quality. There's still a lot of background noise in that vocal, but like I said, this sample is kind of hard to separate out the stems. Let's see what else we got. Bassline sounding clean. And the melody sounding clean as well. Now with these vocals, we would just need to throw a bit of effects on it just to clean it up and make it sound nice. If you want to check out the remix that I did to this song, it's kind of like an electronic vibe. I'm going to leave a link in the description to my SoundCloud where I kind of just throw up my wild, crazy creations. Go check it out, give it a listen. Let's try another track, this classic by Sade. So it's something like this. I think this will be a lot easier because you can hear the vocals clean. There's just the guitar, maybe a bass line, but no drums. Let's go ahead and select stem splitter one more time. Nice and quick. So this is what we got now. I remember his hands. Jeez, clean. And the way the mountains look. Pretty much perfect, honestly. All we need to do is maybe just clean it up with some EQ in. This one, I'm guessing, is the guitar. Quality is nice as well. So the stem splitter feature, really clutch, really handy to just have straight here in the DAW. I like how fast it is. I'm going to be using this a lot, especially when it comes to remixes. And even, let's say, when I just want to grab a sound from a particular song, I can just quickly split it up, take out the drums, take out a kick, take out a snare, and we're good to go. Now, when it comes to my specific workflow in Logic Pro X, one of the things that I had to do is constantly have a separate folder open and drag my drum sounds directly into Logic Pro X rather than just having it in the browser. And that's because in the old versions, for some reason, not all the sounds would play. I think it was something to do with the waveform quality, like it wasn't the certain bit. So one of the massive updates now is that the browser pretty much works flawlessly. So let's go into my drum kits. We could just go through, preview all the sounds really quickly here, and just drag them straight onto the timeline or straight into a sampler. It just makes life so much easier, so much quicker. Before, some loops wouldn't play, but pretty much all the loops play. This, for me personally, huge game changer. Gonna make my workflow so much faster. Another new feature that I noticed in the new Logic Pro 11 is that on the stereo out channel, the master channel, if you don't know how to get that up, you can just press Shift Command M and it will appear. That is that they got this mastering option right on the track. Here's the track that I've been working on. So the levels and stuff is a bit all over the place, but if we just switch on this mastering tool, it's going to analyze the track and build a mastering chain around what you've got. It's just done that really quickly. Let's give it a play. You can even turn up the loudness, make it even wider. So now it just sounds a bit more in your face, a bit more beefy. This is what we had before, and this is what we got with the chain on. Without, and then with it on. I personally think that sounds a lot better, and I actually want to compare it to my own mastering chain. So let me open up my Master V1 channel, which is just like a preset that I put together that works for most of my beats. So this sounds quite beefy. And if we put on the mastering channel, and it's actually going to analyze with my effects on, can work together or without. I think it does a really good job there. So overall, the new Logic Pro 11, I'm quite impressed with all the updates. I think it's progressing in the right direction, especially integrating all the new AI stuff. AI is just going to be more and more present in music production, and I feel like they're taking their first steps there, and it's only just going to get better. One thing I would have liked to have seen though is something that's quite similar to Ableton. When you drag an audio file onto the track, I would love to see it just automatically go to the right BPM that's of the project instead of having to time stretch it. Maybe in Logic Pro 11.1, we'll see. So yeah, overall, very happy with the DAW. Cannot wait to cook up some new beats using this DAW. Let's go.